Hey everyone, Greg here from Sourcetoad, and this is the first video in a series about how to talk about AI to your stakeholders, team members, or your boss. My goal in this video is just to do a very quick overview on what the main types of AI are that people are talking about so that you know the difference between an expert system, machine learning, and generative AI. That should give you a solid base to build on so that you can talk about some of these ideas in general and know if somebody's trying to pull a fast one on you. So if you're a semi-technical head of marketing or operations or product or even the CEO of a company and you need to talk to people about the impact of AI on your organization, this video is for you. I've been programming for about 30 years and I've been doing it professionally for over 20. I've written a book on software development for non-techies. I occasionally lecture at universities in and around Florida on the subject, so I'm probably more qualified to talk to you about this than your cousin Joe at the dinner table. Unless cousin Joe, I guess, is a artificial intelligence researcher, PhD from Stanford, then just enjoy annoying him by recounting him my analogies. And Joe's probably full of himself anyway, right? Joe. AI, artificial intelligence. What is it? It's just a name. It's just the name of the broad science of having machines mimicking human abilities. And that's what powers your voice assistants, your automatic email replies, and much more. When we say mimicking, what we're usually talking about is 5 things, right? The first one is learning, which is to say that these systems can get smarter without specifically being programmed to do so. They don't need other inputs. Number 2 is reasoning. They use logic to make decisions based on information they already have. So this is the step-by-step process of working something out. Like if I tell you all birds can fly, and I say a sparrow is a bird, then you can reason that a sparrow can fly. And you can see that that can sometimes be problematic if now we're talking about ostriches. The third thing is problem solving. It's closely related to reasoning. But when we talk about problem solving here, we're talking more about how you can solve more open-ended questions. So for example, trying to work out the fastest or the most efficient route for a truck to get from one part of the city to the other. Now you've got multiple possible routes. You got to choose the best one based on traffic conditions, constraints, chicken jokes, whatever it is. Then you get perception, which here we're talking about taking data from the real world, like photos or videos, and then recognizing them as dogs or text or the colors of lines on a pool test strip, whatever. And finally, we're talking about interaction, which is how AI allows human beings to interact with computers in ways other than typing into a keyboard, clicking a mouse, or writing lines of code. Most of these are things like chatbots, which you've probably been exposed to, and they mainly suck, so hopefully they're going to get better. So, there are also several types of AI systems out there, all called AI to make it more confusing. So I'm going to just touch on the 3 big ones that are commonly spoken about, and we can talk about others at a later time. The first thing is just called expert systems. They mimic experts. They're the old school cool of AI. They're not really like what we consider modern AI, but they do mimic the decision-making abilities of human beings. They're like having a consultant 24/7. And they're just based on a set of rules and workflows that experts typically follow inside of their own heads. And they're really useful for things like weather forecasting or medical diagnoses or stuff like that. There's nothing fancy about how they're built. They're just kind of connections strung together of like if X, then Y, if Z, go back to Q. They're just logic chains. And they don't require a ton of experience to build or develop either. The second type is machine learning. So machine learning algorithms use massive amounts of data to learn from, and then they make decisions based on that. It's like teaching a computer through experience, except it uses data instead of life lessons, right? It's the reason why your social media feeds are so addictively personalized. It's like you trying to teach a baby about the color red, right? And you show it fire trucks and red crayons and scorching hot chilies, all while saying red, red, red. And that way the baby learns the color and probably doesn't eat the crayon because it thinks it's spicy. They can also work in like weirder ways though, like giving the machine like certain inputs and then telling it what the expected outputs are, and then it will try and develop billions of algorithms that will get you from from the input A to the answer B. And you could give it like a list of your favorite foods from your favorite restaurants in town, and then tell it all the ingredients list and the addresses of all the restaurants and the weather patterns. And you could ask it to predict what other food you might like. And that creates algorithms that no human being really understands. So it gets kind of weird. And that's how I also ended up eating like an 1,800 calorie milk and cookies milkshake on a Wednesday evening in Tampa. I'm feeling really bad about it. Anyway, the last type is the hotness is generative AI, right? So that's DALL-E, Bard, and of course ChatGPT. And probably 100 more by the time this video comes out. But generative AI is about creating new content, whether it's images or music or even code, which could put me out of a job. And so hopefully this YouTube thing takes over. Anyway, so it could do paintings, artworks, drafting marketing copy. It uses what it knows about existing patterns to create something fresh and new. It works in a ton of cool and complicated ways that can seem like magic, but think of it as like the world's smartest autocomplete. Autocomplete that might like start wars or take over our jobs or end the universe. But basically it starts with analyzing what it thinks you want, and then it works out the possible outcomes and that it's generating and makes decisions about what will please you the most. It's being trained on what it thinks people want. And that can be super powerful if it's trained on good, accurate data, or if you're really clear about what you're asking it to get you. So imagine if you're typing an email, and as you type, you notice that the email program starts to suggest ways to finish your sentences. This is something that many of us see every day in features like Google Smart Compose, right? You type, "I hope you are," and it suggests, "well," or "having a good day," when I really meant to say, "I hope you are not effing serious." And that's autocomplete in action, right? It predicts what you're going to type in next based on what you've already typed in. Now take that idea and amplify it to a level where it costs billions of dollars to run the training on this beast, not to mention just the power that it's consuming. And you get large language models like ChatGPT, LLMs. These things aren't just predicting the next word that you might type, they're predicting entire paragraphs or generating content based on vast amounts of text that is learned from, and some might even say stolen from all of human history and the internet. And it's learning all the time from you. And every time you type something into it, you're feeding that beast as well, depending on the system. They're like the world's most enthusiastic puppy, right? They'll bring you back anything that you think they think will make you happy. So you either need to train your own models, or you need to know how to ask it very specific questions so you get back what you want. Otherwise, you might throw that ball to the puppy and get back something that was maybe a sausage a few weeks ago. So if you need anyone to help train your GPT puppies or teach them how to do it themselves, Sourcetoad can help you out. But there are other types of AI out there. There's deep learning systems and neural networks and all sorts of other cool nerdy stuff that we can come back to a different day. Hopefully, this was helpful to you. And if nothing else, you can use it to annoy your cousin Joe next time by telling him about how, I don't know, autocomplete puppies are going to come and take his job one day. So if it has been helpful, then at the very least, or at the very least mildly entertaining, hopefully I'll see you next time.